Your dog just licked your face. Your immediate reaction was probably to smile, maybe wipe your cheek, maybe say something like, "Okay, okay, I love you too." And that interpretation, the one that sounds completely obvious, the one that gets reinforced every time someone posts a slow-motion video of a golden retriever kissing its owner, is the interpretation that researchers in animal behavior have been quietly dismantling for the better part of 30 years. Because face licking isn't a kiss. It isn't even close to a kiss. And once you understand what it actually is, the behavior stops looking like affection and starts looking like something far more layered and, honestly, far more interesting. The instinct behind it predates domestication entirely. It's older than the bond between your dog and you. It's older than dogs. In wolf packs, subordinate members lick the mouths of dominant animals as a submissive signal, a way of communicating non-threat and requesting social access. Puppies do it to their mothers, specifically to stimulate regurgitation of partially digested food. That's the original function. Not warmth, not tenderness. A feeding mechanism that got repurposed across thousands of years of coevolution into something that looks, to a human observer, remarkably like affection. Researchers at the Wolf Science Center in Austria documented this behavior in detail across multiple pack configurations and found that the same orofacial contact sequence appears in adult interactions as a social regulator, a way of managing tension and signaling benign intent within the group. Wolves raised by humans show it toward their human caregivers. Dogs show it with considerably more frequency and considerably less context specificity, which raises the question that nobody actually asks when their dog is licking their face at 7 in the morning. Why you? Why now? And what exactly is your dog trying to say? The domestication process itself may have amplified this tendency. A 2018 study at UC Davis examined genetic markers in dogs selected over centuries for human-directed attention and found that selective breeding for friendly traits inadvertently increased the salience of human faces and scents to dogs. Dogs were essentially bred to care more about human facial features than wolves ever could, which means the target of this behavior, your face specifically, became more rewarding to the dog's sensory system. This isn't accidental. It's the result of tens of thousands of years of artificial selection favoring animals that paid attention to humans and sought human proximity. The behavior is ancient, but its intensity and specificity toward human faces is a relatively recent evolutionary development. Understanding this context helps explain why your dog seems almost compelled to lick your face in ways that wolves or wild canids simply don't. It's not that your dog decided to love you. It's that your dog's entire perceptual apparatus has been engineered at the genetic level to find your face particularly salient and your scent particularly rewarding. Here's the reframe that changes everything. Face licking in domestic dogs isn't a single behavior with a single meaning. It's a signal that carries at least 4 distinct functions depending on context, and most owners have no idea which one they're looking at. The first is appeasement. When a dog licks your face after you've raised your voice, after a moment of tension, after you've come home to find something destroyed, that licking is not an apology, and it's not affection. It's a deactivation signal. The dog is communicating in the most direct neurological language available to it that it poses no challenge. A 2017 study published in the journal Animal Cognition examined the stress responses of 60 dogs across controlled conflict scenarios and found that orofacial appeasement behaviors, including licking directed at the owner's face and hands, correlated strongly with elevated cortisol in the dog, not with positive arousal. The dog isn't happy in that moment. It's managing a threat. The second function is information gathering. Your dog's nose and mouth together form a chemical analysis system with no human equivalent. When your dog licks your face, it's reading your sweat, your stress hormones, what you ate, whether your body chemistry has shifted since this morning. It's running diagnostics. The third function is social bonding maintenance. And the fourth, and this is the one that gets missed almost entirely, is stress relief. For the dog, not for you. In 2019, researchers at Azabu University extended their earlier work on oxytocin exchange in dog-owner pairs and found that physical contact behaviors initiated by the dog, including licking and nuzzling directed at the owner's face and neck, produced measurable increases in oxytocin in the dog itself, not just in the owner. The dog. This matters because it reframes the entire dynamic. When your dog licks your face, one function of that behavior is self-soothing. It's activating its own neurochemical reward system. The licking feels good to the dog in a physiologically measurable way, and your face, your scent, your chemical signature is the stimulus that triggers it. That's not nothing. But it also isn't what most people mean when they say their dog is showing love. It's closer to the way a child might reach for a familiar object when anxious. The comfort is real. The motivation is more complicated than affection. And there's a structural variant worth knowing about here. The same genes identified at Princeton in 2017, GTF2I and GTF2IRD1, associated with Williams-Buren syndrome in humans, and with extreme human-directed contact seeking in dogs, appear to influence the frequency and intensity of these proximity and contact behaviors. Dogs aren't doing this because they decided to. They're doing it because something at the genomic level is pushing them toward human faces, with a force they can't override. So what does it actually mean when your dog licks your face? The honest answer, the one the research supports, is that it depends entirely on what was happening 5 seconds before it started. If you just walk through the door and your dog is calm and loose-bodied and the licking starts immediately, that's social greeting. It's the domesticated descendant of the same mouth contact behavior wolves use to reintegrate returning pack members. If the licking starts after conflict, or after you've been tense or upset, that's appeasement. And what your dog needs in that moment isn't to be pushed away. It needs the tension in the room to drop. If the licking is persistent and escalating, and your dog seems unable to stop even when you redirect it, researchers at Tufts University's Cummings School of Veterinary Medicine have flagged compulsive licking directed at people as a potential marker for anxiety disorders in dogs, appearing in some cases as a displacement behavior when the dog has no other outlet for chronic stress. The behavior looks identical from the outside in every one of these scenarios. The function is completely different. A 2022 review in Frontiers in Veterinary Science analyzed 84 studies on canine appeasement and greeting behaviors, and concluded that owner misinterpretation of orofacial contact was one of the most consistent sources of miscommunication between dogs and the humans who live with them. Most people reward the licking with attention and warmth across all contexts, which means they're inadvertently reinforcing appeasement responses at the same rate they're reinforcing greeting ones. The dog, operating on pure conditioning, learns that licking your face works, regardless of what it was originally communicating.